everyone, it's Christine Fink, and listen, I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about these beauties, these portion control containers here. They come with the 21-Day Fix, originally the 21-Day Fix Extreme, then they started getting incorporated into new programs. You can get them with size. The brand new Hammer and Chisel now comes with these two, so you can incorporate these individually. You can buy these separately now with any type of exercise that you're doing with any of our Beachbody programs. You can incorporate these portion fix containers if you need some help with eating the right amounts of the right types of foods. These puppies will just help you tremendously so that you are doing what you need to be doing for your body and not having to think about it too much. But having said that, sometimes you get home and you get all these containers and you go, I am a little bit, where do I start, right? Let me show you. This is exactly where you start. Any program that comes with the containers, or if you buy them individually, they come with a guide. This one happens to be from the 21-Day Fix Extreme. But you go to the nutrition guide, and right in the guide is a page where getting started, okay? And what you do here is it has a formula. You start with plugging in your weight, and it asks you a few different questions. Just grab a quick calculator, grab your iPhone, run through it, and at the end it's going to give you your calorie target, okay? That amount you take over to the calculation guide, the calorie target guide, and you see where you fit in this range. So let's say, for example, your calorie target was 1,300 calories per day. That's going to put you in this very first category where it's between 1,200 and 1,499 calories. So I know I need to follow this very first column here. And this column is going to tell me how many of each of these to eat per day. Okay, it's that simple, guys. So for this very first row, you're going to have 3 of the greens, 2 purples, 4 reds, 2 yellows, 1 blue, 1 orange, and 2 teaspoons. If your calorie target is higher, you are going to get a higher allowance of certain containers. And again, remember, those are the amount of containers that you are going to eat during the day, each day. Okay? So once you eat one of them, let's say I have a green, you're checking that off. And now I have 2 left if I'm in that first category. So I was allowed 3, had 1, I'm down to 2. And you keep track of that by, there's a little template in the back too. You can find these online. You can make copies. Or there's even apps available. Just search for those. But once you know how many of each category or each container you get, all you do is go to the part of the book, again in the same container guide, and you find that section. So here's a red container. Here's a whole list of samples and ideas of what are approved for this red container, okay? And again, in this category, I'm going to get 4 of these. So I can look through and kind of come up with an idea, maybe a menu for the day to get ideas. There are also, this has been expanded a little bit, so check with your coach or Beachbody On Demand if you have that, and you should be able to get a more in-depth, more approved items on the list. But this is certainly more than enough. You can go from here, okay? But basically, that's it. So figure out how many each container, do your calculation, and then figure out how many of these you get to eat per day. Then it's the fun part, figuring out a menu plan for the day that's going to incorporate these so that you, without even having to think about it, have had a well-balanced diet, right? You didn't even have to think about it. All you had to do is sit there and check off containers. So I do say a little planning goes a long way with these. I really like to plan at least a day in advance when I'm using these containers, for sure. You don't have to be ultimately strict about it, but I tend to do something like, okay, at night I know I'm going to have a protein and a green. So that protein can switch out. Maybe it's chicken one night, maybe it's fish, maybe it's, a nice lean steak, something like that. So I don't sit there and actually say it has to be chicken. I'll say it's going to be a lean protein and it's going to be a veg. Now maybe I'm going to use one container, maybe I'm going to use two. Maybe it's going to be a salad that night with other vegetables. Green peppers, onions, tomatoes, things like that. Maybe it's just going to be some steamed broccoli. So you can play with that. I don't think you have to be super uber over the top, have it planned to a T, unless you're the kind of person that needs that. If so, go ahead. I'll tell you, I give all of my customers, anyone in my challenge groups that have these containers, they get, I provide them with menus, sample menus, ideas, so that certainly helps. We have the Fixate cookbook that has some great ideas as well and tells you the color coordination for that particular meal, which makes it really simple to say, okay, boom, done with that, done with that. Now, let me just give you a quick example of, let's say, for example, tomorrow morning I'm going to have a scoop of Shakeology, and that's going to be one red container. The guidebook tells me that, so just look through the guidebook. It tells me that's going to happen. So I'm good to go, right? Maybe. What if I decided to add a cup of spinach? I do that a lot. Or maybe one of the Power Green boosts. That's going to be equivalent to one of these greens. It's equivalent to one serving of vegetables. So I've been using this a lot lately too. If you're adding maybe half a banana, some raspberries, same thing. Anything that you are adding to your Shakeology, don't forget to count these too. So if you're having your Shakeology just with a scoop of Shakeology and water, blending up really well in your NutriBullet or some other blender, that's going to be one red for your day. But if you're like me, and a lot of times maybe you're adding some greens, some spinach, you're adding maybe some fruit, or you're using almond milk. Almond milk counts as a yellow container, maybe a half, maybe a whole, depending on if you're using sweet or unsweet. Don't panic. Your guidebook tells you, all right? It's right in there, so just pay attention that don't just willy-nilly add things in and think it's still just one red. No. If you're adding it in, make sure you're accounting for it, checking it off so that you know how many left of the same container. Now, obviously you may need 3 of these containers in a day, so you're just simply basically measuring in here and then dumping into a bowl or something else. So if I'm taking this for lunch, for example, I'm going to have a salad for lunch, the night before, the morning up, I'm going to prep, I have a whole bunch of spinach in here, boom. I'm going to have some green peppers, I'm going to have some carrots, I'm going to have some, boom. Now I've used 2 containers. So you're not necessarily packing up this one container and going about your day, because you need the measurements for this container, 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how many you're allotted for the day. So I use this as the measuring tool, boom, dump it into whatever I'm going to be eating out of or prepping for later in the week. I've also done a video on how I make a chicken salad, so if you guys want to check that out, that might be helpful for you too. What else did I want to say? I think that's it. Your guide is the book that gives you everything you need to know. So just wanted to give you some tips, because I know it does get a little bit overwhelming at first, but you guys will do great. These things will tremendously help to get you on track so that you know and start visualizing what a proper portion is. This looks not that big, I'll be honest with you. When you actually take that though and you put it on a plate or put it in a bowl and then you eat it, you realize it was plenty. And don't forget, if you get 4 of these a day, you want to use 2 for dinner, go ahead. Have 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, 2 for dinner. You can certainly do that. So if you're hungry different parts of the day, you can play with where you're going to eat your container. The only thing I have to say about that is the yellows, the carbs, even though they're healthy carbs, if you are looking to lose weight, I do recommend that you try to lessen the carbs as you go later in the day. It seems to help me anyway. But yeah, these little guys, they're actually more than you think, but it helps when you dump it out on a plate and see this is what one serving of protein should be. And I think we're all so used to supersized portions that we have lost our ability to understand what a proper portion actually is. These will help so much to get it from here and into your head so that when you maybe are out at a restaurant, you can now start to visualize. You may have gotten a piece of chicken this big, but you realize, I need it to be that big. And the rest of it's got to go home for another meal. So it helps so much. I hope you guys have great success. I know if you stick with it, you will learn so much, and this will become second nature very, very quickly, and you guys will be seeing results before you know it. So best of luck. If you have questions, please reach out to me, ChristineFinkFitness.com. We'd love to chat. All right, have a great day. Bye, guys.